Hello!
Hello everybody!
It's us, we're back again with our post-game mashup and review of how things went.
First kind of full game of Middle-earth strategy battle game, Battle Companies.
Yep.
It's all a very long... Why is it Lord of the Rings games always have really, really long...
I don't know.
You know, we've got the Lord of the Rings living card game and the Middle-earth strategy battle game, Battle Companies.
Yeah, it's just too many. We will say before we go any further though, we started to use the... I can't remember what it's called now.
Battle Companies Manager.
Battle Companies Manager. It's a website, battles-companies-manager.com.
It's all the website. It's all totally 100% unofficial and unendorsed by Games Workshop.
And has none of their details on there either.
Effing awesome.
It was brilliant. I mean, we did the post-battle sequence and stuff on there on yours, and it just tracks it all for you. And when you're playing the game, you can track the wounds taken, whether you've used fate points or might points and all that kind of stuff. It was fantastic.
Sweet. And then it kills them when they die, they flip over, so you don't want to use them anymore. You have you make little photographs of probably the best bit, of your fighters, so you can see who they are.
Which is great, because then you can go, is that Grognar or Crumdan or whatever, and you can see it straight away because they're there, they're painted, and it looks fantastic.
And then it takes you through the post-match kind of sequence as well, so you can see who, what experience they've gained and all that kind of stuff afterwards, and who's dead.
Yeah.
But it's quite funny because it's unofficial. You have to enter everything in. You have to enter in all your own data.
It's not clever. So if you have a shield and you add the shield, it doesn't change your defence, because obviously that's then adding logic, which is part of the game, and they've been very careful to steer clear of that.
It doesn't change the points of the fighter either. You
have
to do everything manually, but it's still really cool. And actually, it's the kind of thing that years ago you just take for granted you had to do it manually.
Yeah, Now it's like,
computers
how
can't
come it doesn't know this?
Exactly, but it's really great. And actually, in some ways, I found, because I entered all mine in today, you didn't have the access to the photos.
I didn't have the details,
so you didn't do it. So, but I actually found having to enter in the details cemented how the game worked. So I knew what my stats were, and I knew, and so actually, in some ways, when it does it all for you, it in some ways is worse, because you don't actually. It's like, whoa, wow.
You don't really appreciate it. You just do something. It was a bit like when we had the digital version of Age of Sigmar Champions.
Yeah.
It just sort of did loads of stuff for you. You're like, oh, I don't know what happened there.
Me insane. Apart from it telling you when there was something you could do, which maybe you hadn't noticed.
Yes.
Other than that, you do something, it could go bing, 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 bing. It just drives me bonkers. But I really like that. I think that's really good. And it's kind of, because we used Yak Tribe a little bit for Necromunda. But for a beginner, I found Yak Tribe a bit complicated.
It was very complicated. But that could be just because the game is quite complex as well. This is a simpler game, which is good. Yeah. If they could do something like this for Marvel Crisis Protocol as well, to track all the power
Mr.
and
Battle
wins
Companies,
and stuff.
man.
Please do go check it out.
Suppose you play Marvel Crisis Protocol. I was trying to say whether his name is on the bottom, but it's not. I can't.
Do go check out the website though. He does have a Patreon as well. I think we're going to have to frequent that, because this was fantastic.
Oh, and there is a Facebook page.
Aha! So definitely going to have to go check that out. Do go do that. But there we go. So from here on out, there will be some spoilers, because we're going to talk a little bit about the game and how it went as well. So
yes.
So we were playing a fairly basic scenario. We had 5 objective points. There was 1 in the middle and 2 on either side. I had 9 orcs and you had 7 men of
very long
of Rohan. Well, yeah, not very long, but I do feel like numbers matters very much so in combat after that game, and bows. I was going to say bows don't matter very much, but actually I killed 2 people.
But you had to roll ridiculous numbers.
You do, yeah. Like I need a 5 followed by a 5 followed by a 6. I've done it.
That dice roll at the end was crazy. I just wonder whether I kind of saw you in there in the middle. I was thinking, well, we want to have a fight, so let's have a fight. I'm actually wondering now, once you massed everybody in the middle, whether I actually should have stuck with my original plan and just gone out separately and tried to take you down.
I would go to the 2 flanks instead.
Try and take you down.
If you'd done that, I would have had to split my forces up, and that possibly might have then benefited you a bit more. So it's hard to tell straight away, but like you say, we just saw, there's the middle, let's go and have a good old punch up.
Well, basically, because kind of, although we have played a practice game, which went much better for me, but I think I cheated, I kind of wanted to get in amongst it, but I think next time I would perhaps...
I think if the dice had been a little bit more even, it wouldn't have been quite so much of a pace thing. Your dice did suck.
I don't think, any opportunity I got to hit, I just didn't. I mean,
it failed the wound roll.
Barely. I mean, it's hard. The bow is fair enough because you need 5s or 6s.
Yeah.
But even in combat, the old combat that I won, I just fluffed the wound rolls.
It does feel like, in general, the game is. I mean, we started the game. not really having a clue what we were doing again.
No.
But it didn't take us very long to get to grips with all of the little bits again, because there's not many rules in there, and we did pick them up again very quickly. So it almost sometimes feels almost too simple when you're like, oh, I just roll a dice and whoever gets the highest wins. Oh.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, and it's kind of like, oh, I've done that, but now I need a 5. So everything seemed to me to be run around with my inability to roll a 5, which feels a little bit unsatisfactory, but at the same time makes the game nice and quick. And in fact, when we play Aeronautica, we go on about how that's nice and easy because basically you just need 5s.
Yeah.
And this is better. I find this better than Aeronautica because it seems to be a little bit more.
It's a little bit more three-dimensional.
Yeah,
it's a
exactly,
little bit more. Yeah, I mean,
it's ironic really because it doesn't have any up and down movement like Aeronautica does.
No, that is true. I do think I would quite fancy this game if it was on a hex board as well, just to get rid of the ruler completely and just say that the things like bows just didn't have a range.
Yeah.
Because bows are fairly ineffective for the most part anyway.
Yeah, and you could have spears could maybe 2 or 3 hexes or something.
Exactly. So you wouldn't have to change it too much.
Pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
I guess it would be you'd have to have a.
You'd have to have a proper hex map, and if you had scenery on, could be a bit more complex. But you could probably guess it for the most part. But you never know. But yeah, even without that, it works really quickly. It's nice and simple. It's a nice, fun, fast game, and fun, fast game. And for the most part, I mean, things were fairly sort of cinematic throughout the game. There were no unbelievable moments really, except for
when you shot into combat and killed my leader.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that one,
right in the arse,
right in the backside. I mean, I was a bit lucky. I had an early kill with my bowman over there. I managed to take out your bloke who was skulking over one of the objectives, and that immediately gave him a bit of a boost.
Yeah. I think I kind of it's one of those things. I think it would have happened eventually, though. It just happened to happen first turn because I would have to have stayed there. And you basically would have
just been twanging away at you the whole time.
Eventually shot him.
But I did need like a 4+ to be able to shoot you, followed by a 5+ to hit you, followed by a 6 to actually do a wound.
And you did that twice.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Not that Robin's bitter at all, but I did do it twice.
And I do like the fact that there's no saving throw. Although when we immediately did reach for the saving throw dice on the first.
It was immediate. Every time there was like that little moment of, oh, I've wounded him. Oh.
He's dead. He's not just wounded, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead. And it's not that scary that your leader only has 1 wound, because they're a bit better, but they're not that much better than everything else.
Not in this game. I imagine if you play the proper game and you've got proper heroes,
that
cost, because they cost vast numbers of points, the heroes in comparison.
But they should, because they're much tougher.
Oh yeah, they're really tough. Yeah.
And I think that's the other thing, is that in combat you kind of think, oh, my leader should be able to do a bit more. You know, he should be better in combat, and he's not that much better. No. But you know, they're not that much better. They don't cost more points, so why should they be any better? And they do get the fate point and the might point and the it's not willpower, is it? It's the other
willpower.
One. Is it willpower? Yeah. Okay, so they do get those 3 points.
I think it's called. But
so they get that to help them out a bit, and that did help you.
Brian, I can't remember.
It's Bill, maybe. It did help you over there because your lieutenant was holding an objective, and I charged one of my orcs straight into him, and his fate point did save him. So
it did, although yours saved him over here too. But it was a bit different. Yeah. That would have. I mean, actually, I'm surprised actually how the game went. He didn't die.
No, just kill over dead over exhaustion.
Totally would have ruined things for me. But yeah, I don't know if I didn't get tactics right. Like I say, with the dice, it didn't help. But I wasn't really in the game from the moment we had combat over here.
You were outgunned a bit, I think, but your dice also let you down.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder whether it's worth, in this situation, because 2 of the objectives are in your back field, whether it's worth just running straight past them and going for the enemy. Because if you'd have run across the field, taken my guys out, you could continue over whilst one of the people at the back could then fill in possibly.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to know. Well, I guess we'll find out with other scenarios. Maybe I'm just not very good at this game. We'll find that out too.
I mean, when you dice like that, it doesn't matter what you do. You're never going to win.
True. That is very true. Which is kind of that's your shtick.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. Yeah. But overall, the game itself, it's nice and simple and fast, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did too. I'm now wondering whether maybe I should have just got up and hidden in various places and just shot at you. But I only had 2 archers, so it would have been a very long game.
Yeah, I only had 2 as well. They just seem to be much, much more effective.
It's quite hard, though, I think, to use archery because they can't shoot if they move more than
Yeah.
half their movement. You can catch, and the board's very small, you can catch them up very quickly.
You do have to think about where you're putting them to make sure that you've got that line of sight from very early on. I'm assuming that Elven archers are probably much better than your
guessing
regular.
so. I haven't really looked. I've decided I'm going to buy another army though.
Really? Well, I mean, you've already got one done. I mean, we've got lots of Rohim fighters left over in case one of your guys advances or becomes a rider or something like that. But they're not going to advance for a while.
No, I've forgotten how that happens. We'll have to do that.
We'll look into
talk about that at the beginning of the next go.
I definitely want to paint up some more of the goblins because whilst these two are goblins, I'll use them as orc archers for the most part. But then I've got the goblins because we've still got the Balin's Tomb box. I could paint the goblins up from that.
John Grant Miniatures gave me a load of dwarves.
Oh, fantastic! So we've got dwarves. I may have ordered some warg riders
but
as
I don't
well.
want those. I want to get the Gondorians.
Well, you got to go for them as well.
I'm going to do that.
I think much slap chopping will occur to get these models tabletop ready because it doesn't take a lot. And actually, all of the orcs were slap chopped.
Okay.
You
were slap chopping before it was a thing.
I was, yeah. It doesn't get much more hipster than that.
Mine were beautifully and painstakingly painted in a more traditional fashion.
They do look better.
Which didn't really help them.
But they do look better overall, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So there we go. There's a brief summary of the game. Like we said, there's not much. There wasn't too much in the way of tactics. It's mostly charge and punch each other to pieces. I think more tactics will come out as we get more invested into the game and more of the missions come out.
I think so, because it was literally the first. Well, we played another mission off camera, but literally the second mission we played. It's hard to know how to run these things.
Yeah. And our first game was literally a pitch battle, run at each other, and
see who has the best dice rolls.
Yeah. Turns out that one was Robin. This one was me, and this one counts because it was recorded.
Well, and being done on the.
It is, yeah.
On the app thing, so yeah.
And just to reiterate, Battle Companies Manager.
It's a website, not an app.
Yeah, it's a website, not an app, but it works just as nicely on the iPad as Robin's got there.
Yeah, it's gorgeous on the iPad.
It's fantastic. If you play this game, you're going to want to use it because it just takes so much hassle out of it. So do check that out.
Absolutely. You can even put the rules in that are relevant for your. I mean, you have to add them yourself, but for the throwing spears.
Yeah, throwing spears you can run in.
I won't have to look it up.
Or the great weapons, which I must remember to -1 from my dual roll, but then I get +1 on the wound roll. That kind of stuff. I don't think
you could type in the entire rules of the game, which we might have needed today.
So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the battle report. If you've watched it, if you enjoyed this little summary, do let us know in the comments below what you think and what you'd like to see us bring to the field next. I have realised we do also have some ghosties sitting in the box that we can paint
I just don't see the point of having a battle company's ghost. It offends me. It offends me.
Because, I've gained experience. How? You're dead.
Well, yeah, but also they were specifically raised by Aragorn to defeat, to arrive at Pelargir to see off the Corsairs of the ships. Yeah. And that's it. Then they were put back to sleep and put to rest. So there's no way they could turn up and form a battle company. So it irritates me a little bit. So I can't see myself playing those.
Also, we know that the ghosts were completely impervious to everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm just going to move along here and attack you, and he's going to die because you can't stop it.
Oh, maybe I will play them.
Oh. So do like, subscribe, ring the bell, and give us a thumbs up and all that good social media-y stuff.
Yep.
And we'll see you soon, maybe in Middle-earth.
Ooh, I do like Middle-earth.